Good evening. My name is Allison Wolfe, and I am the proud mom of 4 incredible children. While they are all extraordinary and adorable, in my humble opinion, tonight I'd like to tell you about one of them, Ford, and his health journey. If I were to describe my 5-year-old son, Ford, in just one word, it would be curious. He's the type of kid who sees an adjustable table, the ones in the hospital rooms are our favorites, and crawls underneath to study how it functions. He is our little engineer. He is playful, loves gymnastics, swimming, riding his bike, and tells potty jokes to get a laugh from his siblings. In December of 2022, at his 4-year checkup, I talked through some concerns with his pediatrician, who noticed that Ford was paler than he should be. I tried to convince myself he was fine, maybe anemic, bought some Flintstone vitamins with iron, and tried to protect my mental state by refusing to Google his symptoms. But after a family outing where he wanted to be in the stroller more than out running around, and seeing the pallor of his skin compared to his siblings in a photo, I knew we needed to get blood work ASAP. On December 21st, Ford and I were driving home from Costco with a haul for Christmas dinner when our pediatrician called me. I'd been checking in with the office about blood work results. I felt a wave of relief. We'll have some answers. Her first question was if my husband Nathan was in town and if I had people around to help with the kids. She asked how quickly we could get Ford to Dell Children's Hospital. I could hear the dread in her voice as she said his blood work indicated he might have leukemia. Leukemia? She threw out a best-case scenario, a little nugget of hope I clung to. We'd be there for a few hours because he needed a transfusion. He'll need a transfusion. We can handle that. As I drove home to Nathan, I was shaky and in denial. I felt a wave of relief when Ford fell asleep in the back seat. We could speak freely, cry, and panic together for a moment before packing a bag. The 3 of us headed to Dell Children's Blood and Cancer Center, a 4-story red brick building we'd come to know quite well. It was there we met Child Life, nurses, and Ford's oncologist, who shared the surreal diagnosis, leukemia. Our sweet 4-year-old boy had B-type ALL. And thus began the sprint that would be followed by a marathon, a 2.5-year-long treatment plan. Ford's older brother, Sawyer, was 6, his little sister, Darcy, was 1.5, and I was 7 months pregnant with our sweet little bonus baby. I grappled with everything. Had God given us this baby because he knew we were going to lose Ford? People like to say he doesn't give you what you can't handle, but this felt like too much. Nathan and I stayed in the hospital with Ford, processing together what was happening. Friends and grandparents cared for Ford's siblings, and we spent Christmas in the hospital that year. We answered hard questions from our 6-year-old, and not just about the logistics of Santa Claus coming to our house a few days late. The first phase of treatment is brutal, getting chemo through a newly implanted port, transfusions, losing hair, and managing the side effects of 28 days of steroids. Aside from making them ravenously hungry and changing their appearance, steroids can change a child's personality entirely. Ford would become irrational, irritable, and withdrawn. There were many times I had to just give him what he needed, not get too upset, and trust that my son, Ford, was still in there. As a parent, you want to protect your child, take on some of the pain and suffering on their behalf. It was hard to come to terms with the fact that we could only walk alongside him on this journey, be there with him, and be present. People say, "You're so strong, I don't know how you're doing it." But you don't really have a choice, you just do it. They would too. You do your best, and you do it with love. And you try as hard as you can to choose joy despite the circumstances. You smile when his siblings make him laugh, and you cry when his big brother comes home with his Martin Luther King Jr. activity from school, where he said, I have a dream my brother doesn't have leukemia. Well, that dream did come true. Ford's body responded the way we'd prayed it would to the first phase of treatment. We got a break from steroids and welcomed his baby brother Campbell 2 months to the day after Ford's diagnosis. In the delayed intensification phase, we would come to the clinic once or twice a week for chemotherapy, spending anywhere from 2 to 6 hours in the infusion room. His baby brother was the sweetest companion for our clinic visits and served as a source of comfort and humor. Going to a cancer clinic with your child draws up a weird mix of emotions. On one hand, you're so grateful it exists because your child is alive thanks to these drugs, but at the same time, you hate to pump your child's body full of poison to keep him alive, stunting his growth, limiting his physical abilities, making him sick, and just trusting that it's for the best and managing the side effects as you can. It's emotionally draining and can feel really isolating, even when you're surrounded by other families on a similar journey. It was during these long clinic days when we met Joy RX. Music specialist Christy walked up to us, guitar in hand, and asked us if she could play us a song. While Ford initially said he didn't want any music, Christy won him over with the Paw Patrol theme song. The giant room felt smaller and warmer when we were singing along with Christy. She was enthusiastic, consistent, and gracious, touring through the infusion room and taking requests from the kids. Ford and I would recount what Christy played for him the week before and plan out what he wanted the next week. He was a man with a game plan, ready to pitch a new song to Christy whenever she'd come by. She'd even look up music and learn new chords to play his requests. We'd get ideas while watching movies. Trolls and Sing 2 provided a lot of inspiration. And from hearing other kids' requests from across the infusion room. Ford would listen to a song, nod, and say, "I'll ask for that song next week." With so much out of Ford's control, I was glad he could have this. He was the one to decide, choose, and engage. There were times during my maternity leave I'd be sitting in the infusion room, holding my sweet new baby, watching Ford play with farm animals as Christy sang a rousing rendition of Old MacDonald Had a Farm, and think, wow, this is pretty lovely. A jarring and strange thought while my son was attached to an IV, but it was the truth. JoyRx helped make a horrible, unimaginable, painful experience into something beautiful. Not only did it bring joy to him, but it filled my bucket and helped me be a better caregiver for him. There are many Spanish speakers in our community, and hearing Christy sing in Espanol allowed us to connect with families when we might otherwise not have, bonding over some of our favorite Spanish language songs, many from the movie Coco. JoyRx created a sense of community within the infusion room, music crossing the divides of languages, ages, and diagnoses. Thank you for bringing that community, music, and joy to us in Austin. Today, I am thrilled to share that this fall, Ford started kindergarten, where he is actually learning Mandarin, and and in March, Ford will finish treatment. He is a very busy 5-year-old. He's been taking piano lessons for about 6 months. And in this video here, he's playing a song by the Thai band Slot Machine that his music teacher at school introduced him to. And now he's asking me for a guitar. Our curious little engineer is hard at work learning about music. It's an honor to be here with you tonight. For a couple days, I wasn't sure we'd be able to join you. We had a very exciting week last week. Ford was jumping on the trampoline with his brother and broke his leg. Watching Ford navigate life in a cast in a wheelchair shows us again how resilient and strong he is at the young age of 5. And I want him to know that just like leukemia, injury or illness does not define who he is. No matter what challenges are ahead for him, he can and he will choose joy. That's what defines him. Thank you. Thank you.